Hey, welcome back. So, it's been raining a lot lately. Rained this morning, it rained last night, we've been getting slick mud all over the place. I have managed to get out and get some stuff done down the hill. Like I got all the peanuts weeded and been picking the beans and been checking out and string trimming the pumpkins and getting some of that stuff done. Kind of in between gaps. But there's been a lot of rain. And I've been busy doing other stuff. I'm still playing catch up after going back to the United States and getting some things done. But one thing that I have gotten into since it's been rainy, or gotten back into, is getting a little bit of carpentry done. I grew up with, my grandpa was a boat carpenter. He actually built a sailboat in the backyard of his house on top of a trailer. I mean, a beautiful little sailboat. And you know, he was planning on traveling the Caribbean with it and everything, but he built it when he was older, and by the time he actually finished it, it was too much for him to manage, and he and my grandma were getting too old. But it was a beautiful boat, and he got it in and took it out multiple times down in South Florida, and you know, that was cool. I have good memories of that. But in his shop, which was just his carport in Fort Lauderdale, he had all kinds of tools. He had a table saw, he had routers, he had planers, he had all kinds of hand tools and things, and just like in mounds, everything was just piled up back to the corners of his storage area. And you know, so from about the time I was 11 or so, I was working on his bandsaw. I used to build things. I used to copy and try to rebuild electric guitars. I actually built a working electric guitar once, which was kind of cool. But it's not really a gardening thing, but I figured I'd just show you some of the wood I've been picking up. I've been getting stuff from like driftwood, and from a guy with a local sawmill who's been cutting up kind of hardwoods that I have never seen before. And then I'll show you a couple of things that I made over the last little bit. And when I say made, making things here has been much more difficult than it was in the States, because back in the States I had a barn with all kinds of tools in it. I had a drill press, I had a table saw, I had a bandsaw, I had a grinding wheel, I had all the tools I needed. Jigsaw, drill. I didn't even have any of that stuff. The only thing I had here was a skill saw and a hacksaw and like some screwdrivers. I mean, just really minimal. So I went out and I said, forget it. I wanted to build a little stool for the children to use in the bathroom, the young ones, so they could reach the sink. And I went out and bought the wood, and then I got home and I tried to build this stool with hand tools, like with a hacksaw, and it was ridiculously bad. So I just said, forget it, and I went out and I bought a drill and I bought a jigsaw. And so that got me started. But let me show you the wood that I got, because it's really kind of cool what I've been finding lately. It has been so wet. The water has actually run underneath here, even though I cleared the driveway, cleared the mud out of the driveway so this drainage goes better, blasted it out and opened it up. It still drains through here just because of the way the house is, and it's on a slope. So it's not even really that great a workspace. But anyhow, I have managed to pick up some really cool bits and pieces of wood. Like this piece of driftwood. That's a hard piece of wood. I'm sure I'm going to use that for something. It just looks cool. And this here is a piece of tropical almond. Isn't that interesting? It's actually a very nice wood, and it's quite hard and beautiful. This is the end piece I cut off from one of the pieces I made the other day. I made a bedside bookshelf for my room. This here, the locals call it red cedar. It's not a cedar. There's not really any pines growing here that I know of. There may be some, but it has a similar look to cedar, and it has a bitter wood. Like the sawdust tastes really bitter, and it really irritates your eyes and your lungs if you breathe it in. But I don't know what it actually is. Just red cedar, but it makes a really beautiful wood. And I got some of this. I found a piece that was really interesting looking, and I used that to make a little stool for the kids, and I'll show you that in a minute. Kind of just stopped by the sawmill and picked up wood. Like, seriously, I was getting, you can get mahogany over there for $3 a board foot, roughly American. Isn't that awesome? I mean, mahogany. Here's another piece. This is an end piece that is molding of the cedar, but I'm sure I'm going to use that for something. Now look at this piece. This is a piece. Look at the pattern in that. This is one of the pieces that I cut out of a board that I picked on purpose to make the little stool out of that I'll show you. Just because, I mean, you can see it doesn't even have varnish on it yet. Look at the incredible quilting and marbling, or whatever you call it, on that wood. This one too. This is from that same board. See that? It's like tiger eye. This is interesting. This is the cedar. See those lines in it? They look like, I mean, they look like they're cracks, but they're not. Actually, they're dark lines that form in the wood. They're very sort of interesting. It looks like somebody just drew on it with a ballpoint pen. And now here I've got bits and pieces of driftwood. I keep finding driftwood at the beach. I love this sort of chewed up wood. These are pieces of teak that I found along the shoreline. Teak is really great wood if you can get it. There's actually my friend mills teak as well, so I might go buy some teak, make an outdoor chair or something. But teak is great. You can find it. Here's a piece. This will probably be the leg to something at some point, or a piece to something. I'm just kind of picking up the driftwood when I find it. And that's enough of that. There's not really much more interesting to show you here in my scavenged wood pile. Let's go look at what I made. Here's the little stool that I made for the kids. This is that red cedar wood. Isn't that awesome? And look at this is like way too nice for a bathroom stool, honestly. Look at that, how gorgeous that is. It's like total overkill. I mean, this is the kind of wood that you might want to make a sculpture out of, or a fine instrument, but I also got it for about less than $3 a board foot, and it only took one board to make this. Isn't that cool? The thing that convinced me to go out and buy the jigsaw was that I tried to cut these little hoops with a hacksaw. I said, forget this. I ruined some wood trying to get those curves going, and it was impossible. Just could not do it. It would cut inwards and it would move, and the angles would all go wrong. So I said, if I had a jigsaw, I could do this in 5 minutes. So traced the bottom of a paint can and made that little hoop, and it makes it much more stable than if you have just long flat pieces on the bottom. I think it's better to have the 4 points that it lands on. You can still see that the wood curves inwards a little bit. I didn't intend on doing that, but all this wood was cupping, and you could see a little bit of a warp to the top too. The humidity is very high right now, and things just want to do what they want, but that's strong enough. It's all glued and screwed together. Now let me show you the bookshelf I made, because I'm really proud of that one. This is my bookcase. This is my bedside coffee holder. I can put stuff on top here, and then I can stick a few books beneath. And this is tropical almond. The guy that sold me the wood, he had a couple of boards that had been all chewed up by beetles. When he cut them, he found that they had been bored on the inside by wood boring beetles, which are long gone, fortunately. And I was like, that wood is so cool looking. And they were from the end pieces. So there was, there were these rounded pieces, and you can see all the little chew marks in them. I said, that looks incredible. And he's like, what? That's junk wood. Why would you want that wood? And I said, because I think I like that better than the other wood. And so he actually gave me a couple of boards as a gift with the other wood that I bought from him. So look at that. Isn't that cool? And that's tropical almond. This has one coat of polyurethane on it. It's a really simple design. Obviously, I just cut my pieces. I drilled holes to countersink screws in, and the holes actually kind of match with the rest of it. I did them sort of a little randomly. There's one here and one here. And so they go with the holes that are already in the top of the wood, and they just sort of fit into the pattern. And then I put a couple of screws through the side here to put this shelf in, and I rounded this edge out. This piece of shelf came out kind of like that on the edge, so I cut that piece on the corner and made it look kind of cool. And This has only had one coat of polyurethane on it because I ran out. It's just satin. It doesn't have any stain on it. I was gonna stain it, but the stain came out really dark because this stuff really absorbs. So anyhow, that's there's my bookshelf. Pretty happy with that. I like the sort of natural beat wood look of it, and it works really well to hold books. Thanks for joining me while I show off my limited carpentry skills. Very happy with the way that little shelf turned out. I love that holy wood. It's just really cool. And who would have thought that tropical almond would look like that? Anyhow, you know, I love the trees, I love the plants, and I love the hidden beauty of the wood inside a lot of the trees. Something else. And there's so many trees you can use. But tropical almond, who would have thought? And it's a nice hard wood too, so it's kind of cool. I'd probably be worth planting some just to have it a plantation to harvest wood from later. I don't know. It certainly grows fast enough. So thanks for joining me, and have a great week. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.
I went to see David the Good. We listened to Portishead and drank spiced rum.